What's up, everybody? Welcome to the KindaFunny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the sneezing Hispanic heartthrob Texas treat, Latino heat, clicking heads, ripping them to shreds, the globe-trotting, head-shotting, nitro rifle from twitch.tv, Andy Cortez. Andy, what is happening?
Wrong pipe. The wrong pipe, Greg. I'm eating.
What was it? Oh,
ow.
Kashi cinnamon harvest.
So it's either the fiber or the cinnamon or a combination of both working in tandem to take me down.
This is it. It's not a snake this time.
Woo, that was scary.
Right?
That was scary.
That was, I mean, it's rare that we hit the button, the intro starts rolling, and then I see Andy just break down.
See, before seeing it, I just hear the.
The first sign something's gone awry.
Have to hit the quick mute, but Michael Jordan played with the flu, so that's what I'm going to do right now.
He sure did. He sure did.
A little Kashi in the throat.
Yeah, of course. He's Forbes 30 under 30, aka the second best baby blues in San Francisco, aka the engaged one at Tim Geddes.
Let's him host. How you doing, Greg?
I'm good. I'm glad to have you back on the show. Of course, last KindaFunny podcast, you had been bit in the eye by a snake.
Hurt.
Hear you.
Hurt bad. I'm back.
Yeah, well, I'm proud to have you back. Proud to talk to you about some stuff.
Cobra, right? Was it Cobra?
Yeah, it was a Cobra we talked about last time.
Unfortunate.
I didn't see it because it got my eye.
Yeah, of course. I understand. Makes sense. Yeah, how you gonna know that's coming? And then he's the producer/seducer, but he's in is this a brand new hoodie? I don't know what this is. It's Nick Scarpina.
Here's the thing about the show. Great afternoon to everyone, by the way. Great afternoon, Andy.
Great afternoon to you.
Great afternoon.
Great afternoon. It's one of the hoodies that I bought a while back. I bought a few hoodies. I was like, I'm going to start wearing some pullover hoodies. And I just don't like pulling them over. If I'm being 100% honest.
You fucking useless human being.
I'm like, they've been sitting in my closet for so long. And I just think to myself, Mari, I'm like, I just don't like the act of pulling over the hoodie. I don't know that I do. So I'm trying it out. No, there's no. I mean, I can get the zip up ones, but I
think that's what she's saying is why not just default then over to the zipper if that's how it's going to be.
Because I can. But I bought these thinking I'm going full in on the pullover, and I'm getting used to it. But I also think for some reason stupidly I default to like the stuff that's super comfortable when I'm on camera because I'm still in that weird mindset where I'm like, well, I am in my place of living. But I'm also at work, so I think if I had to go to work more often, I would be more inclined to dress up for Tim. But like now that I'm here, I'm giving it a shot. I got another one that's a peach color.
I like it too.
Well.
This looks super soft.
It's very soft. It's very soft. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It looks nice and clean too, because you don't get those ripples from the zippers.
Well, that's the other wild card factor here, Andy, is that I drink nothing but iced coffee all day, and this is a cream colored pullover sweatshirt that is just asking for me to splatter something on it.
It's a dangerous game, Nick.
What are we rocking pajama pants wise with this right now? Because that's my thing. Do you look like you're in some kind of cream colored coat?
I dressed up for all of you today. We had a special guest. So I put some jeans on actually.
Okay, fair enough. And ladies and gentlemen, that special guest, you know her from Smosh, you know her from Survivor, and now you know her from Space Station Gaming. It's Mari Takahashi. Hello, Mari.
Whoa! Thank you for that intro. I was wondering what I was gonna get.
Yeah, well, please don't worry about it. We got to make sure we run through I didn't go through everything. You're one of those people that does too much. You're all over the place. That's the thing. I just listed 3 of your most famous, I would think, things. But if somebody doesn't know you, Mari, how do you describe yourself when you meet them?
Internet icon.
Yeah, somebody who thinks that she can do a lot of stuff, but a lot of it is just half-assed.
Sure, fair enough. That's all of us. That's all. That's everybody on the internet creating content, right?
Yeah, well, we're forced to. It's like, well, you used to do one thing on one platform. Now there's 18. So have fun.
Go do it on everything. Do some things different on every one of them. Cultivate and curate a different audience on each one of them. But, you have some time for yourself. Don't burn out.
Yeah. Mental health first, but still do all of it.
Yeah. So what have you been up to recently? Tell me about Space Station Gaming, of course. This is a big announcement today as we record that you are now a co-owner of Space Station Gaming.
Yeah, it's a big old title, isn't it? It's a meaty one. Yeah, I'm coming off of the heels of all the excitement today. So you've caught me in one of those moods where I'm like, is this freaking real? Is this like happening? It's a culmination of like maybe a year and a half of seriously talking about it, and then probably a couple of years before that of just slightly talking about it. And this is me with Sean McBride, aka Sean Duras, who I got to know a long time ago, and he started a team. I saw them at Smite World Championships way back when. I was like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I got a team." And so I've been kind of watching them for a very long time since then, and now here we are.
So
Your
now
life has been insane. Because I just want to say this. I've known you for many years at this point, like just either from your old videos you used to do. We've collaborated a couple of times. We did the Power Rangers video with exactly. With Ismahawk. And I didn't know until this week that you were on Survivor. That is one of the coolest freaking things I have ever heard. And it was like, I looked back and I was like, I thought that it was like, oh, you're on this season. And I was like, no, you were on a season a couple of years ago. Like that's crazy. I want to know all about that.
It was a thing, but I feel like most people don't know because it was a very short stint. Spoilers!
Oh no!
Spoilers! She did not walk away with $1 million.
Oh, dude! If I did, I'd be like, "Hey, do you guys all want cars?"
I would say yes to that.
Bring cars with me.
I like the idea of you prepping any fans that want to watch this season to watch you and be like, "Look, you could just put aside like." I don't know, 2 hours that night, and you'll be good to go.
That's what I said. I said, just give me 2 weeks of your time. But it was still extremely awesome. I wouldn't take it back for anything. And I had a lot of good lessons in it. If anything, I realized how I guess selfish I can be in conversations and how much I can put myself on an island. And I was like, oh, you know what? I should really check myself on that. And so,
I mean, physically or metaphorically?
Metaphorically, but I was also
which is what got her kicked off of said.
Yeah.
It's an island within an island.
Mm-hmm. We're getting deep here.
Oh man, why bring this up? Why bring up this image? Barrett brings up the image of you getting kicked off the island. What a memory!
Oh, that's sad.
The image. I had many more fun moments on the show.
that was Mari. I'm sorry. That was the first image that popped up, and that's
Mari's like, man, it's been such a crazy day. I'm a co-owner of an eSports organization. I'm on a super high. The first image we have is like,
it's good. It's good.
I thought that was going to be a photo of Jeff Probst, the host of Survivor, being like thumbs down with her in the background, like just really digging in.
We have more Survivors questions for sure. We have more stuff about Space Station Gaming. We have plenty of reader mail just about life. And we're going to get into all of that and more because this is the KindaFunny podcast. Each and every week, twice a week, four, sometimes five best friends gather on this table, each coming in to bullshit about whatever it is they want to bullshit about. If you like that, you should head over to patreon.com/KindaFunny. Over on patreon.com/KindaFunny, you can write in to be part of the show. You can get the show ad free. You can get the show with the exclusive post show we do. And of course, you can be watching live as we record the show, just like Mike L is, Lexi G is, and Stefan Stevens are. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you have no bucks to toss our way, it's no big deal. You can go to youtube.com/KindaFunny, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe each and every week to get 2 new episodes of the KindaFunny podcast. Housekeeping for you right now over on twitter.com/KindaFunnyVids. And people who are watching live, this is actually a spoiler for a video going live tomorrow. So everybody be chill. All right. But when you see this on Monday, everybody else, you can go to twitter.com/KindaFunnyVids and participate in the ultimate McDonald's item tournament. We have taken nearly 50 McDonald's items, reseeded them, and put them on a bracket to determine what is the best McDonald's item of all time. We will be voting throughout the week in all 4 different brackets. Friday will be the semifinals and the finals of the competition. You can get all the details on twitter.com/KindaFunnyVids. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, Steve Powers, the KindaFunny Destiny 2 PC Clan, the KindaFunny Destiny 2 PC Clan. Today we're brought to you by MeUndies and Quip, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, Mari, you talked about it. You're here having one of these days. I imagine a career day where you go, man, I actually did this. I actually accomplished this. For, again, people who don't know you, obviously you're this internet host. You do a million different cool projects. You're all over social media and YouTube and stuff like that. How did this all start for you?
It started falling really ass backwards into it. So as I feel like most people in what we all do, I was a professional ballerina. I was working with your Oakland Ballet, and that was my like 8 hours a day, 6 days a week gig. But during the summers, we would have 3 months off, and during those summers, we wouldn't get paid. So I would take any gig that was ever posted on Craigslist or the equivalency of Craigslist for performers, which was SF casting for those of you in San Francisco, which I know you guys are. And so I would take anything. I was a magician's assistant. I would do
Holy shit
and dress up as a ballerina and just entertain kids for like an hour and a half. I would pass out flyers at doctors' conventions. I would take anything. And one of those anythings was a sketch comedy thing where they needed a Japanese-speaking person for an internet channel, undisclosed. I paid $50. It was in Sacramento, and I'm like, all right, it's a 2-hour drive. Sure, I'll go do it. Turns out it was Smosh. And
what year was this, for context?
2010. Crazy. And in 2010, Smosh already in their 5th year had 10 million subscribers.
Which were at that time the number one most subscribed channel on all of YouTube.
Absolutely bonkers. Just like, they were top tier. I went there and I didn't know who they were. So I just didn't do research on who they were or whatnot. I'm like, I just need to speak Japanese for this thing. But they were really awesome and we got along. Ian and I talked about cars the whole time. He had a Subaru that I really wanted. Sorry?
The movie? The Pixar movie? Yeah, but Cars, the Pixar movie, or just actual vehicles?
Oh, actual vehicles.
Okay.
That was a joke. Andy knows that no one would actually.
I love he committed though. He committed.
No, you saw it as soon as he said it and she didn't catch it. She's like, he was like, fuck, I'm in too deep now. Yeah. I'm in too deep with this gag. I gotta say it 9 more times.
You know what it is? In my head, so this video was for a Pokemon theme song sketch. And in my head, I knew that it was a Pokemon thing. So I thought I had said Pikachu. And so I was like, are we talking about the Pikachu movie? But obviously I didn't say that out loud.
I've been there.
Talking to other humans is difficult.
That damn pandemic. It makes everything harder to talk about and get over there. Oh, look, Bearwin found that video too.
Yes. So yeah, this is the, it should be, this is it. And that's me. I look like a different person. I had such chubby cheeks. So I'm talking Japanese there, and that's it. And I was a huge fan of Ryan Higa. And I didn't know Smosh. And so to be in the same video as Ryan, I was freaking out. But when it came out, I was like, oh, Smosh is big.
This is a big deal.
Yeah, you should do your research before you go and work for people.
No. See, that's where you're wrong.
Learn your lesson, okay?
No. It's much more fun just to go in blind, and then either you make friends for life or enemies for life.
It's true. I always just say, just show up and don't be an asshole, and it will take you very far in life.
I gotta remember that last part.
Nick, learn that one too, yeah.
So
once you did this video with it, you just hit it off and stayed in touch, or do they hire you pretty much right away?
So their casting person named Julianne Gabbert, she at the end of the day was like, hey, do you want to come in tomorrow for a recurring role? Me thinking that this is literally just side gigs because my actual career is ballet, almost didn't come in because it's another couple-hour drive up and down to get to Sacramento from San Mateo area, which is where I was living. And so I almost didn't show up. I didn't have any information as to what this recurring role was, but because it was the summer, I had nothing to do, so I did show up. And me thinking, I'm just a pretentious person in general, but I'm a very pretentious ballerina, so I think that it is going to be like a straight up job interview sort of thing. And instead, it turns out to be Ian and Anthony at a table in a very strangely long room, and I'm standing on the other side. They have a single camera there, and I walk in. They're like, we're just going to ask you some questions. And I'm like, you want me to stand here? And you guys are all the way over there. And they said, yeah. And they asked me questions like, what are 3 things that you would bring to a zombie apocalypse? Mm-hmm. What's your favorite Pokemon? Can you do weird things? And I think
Wait,
I was
what were
very
the answers? What are the answers?
Yeah,
what are
well,
the
you
three
got-
things
you gotta
you bring to a
back up.
zombie apocalypse?
Yeah.
Honestly, I had really shitty answers because I was kind of perturbed because I was like, what is this? And I didn't even think it was going to go on the internet. I was just like, what is this? Am I getting pranked?
Nick
Do you have a
Scarpino.
question, sir?
I was going to say, I bet I know one thing that Andy would bring to a zombie apocalypse. He'd bring Greg because Greg's slower.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right. God, that's a good one, Nick. That's a
Thanks,
fucking
Andy.
good one
Thank
right
you,
there,
Andy.
dude.
Oh,
He got your ass, Greg. He got
That's
your
an
ass.
This
inside
is how it
joke.
is around here, Mari.
They
I did
race a
nothing
lot. They
wrong.
foot race
You
a
know,
lot.
nothing wrong. I've never insulted these people once in my entire life, and this is how they treat me, like dirt.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
sure.
I believe Greg.
Thank
For
you.
sure,
Means a
says
lot to me.
Nick.
Finally, someone does.
No,
Anyway.
I had pretty terrible answers, but when this video went live, the whole caveat was there's, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 other contestants for the next person to be on Smosh. And I didn't realize that that's what it was, but it was a contest, and they asked the fans, who do you want to be the next person to be on Smosh? And the fan base liked me because they thought that I wasn't trying hard. I didn't know what it was. I was
Fair
just
enough.
being a dick, if anything.
Well, I mean, like, I have to imagine coming from where you're coming from, like, it takes a lot of work to be a professional ballerina. Like, that's a lot of. I have to imagine you started dancing when you were very, very young, and to be able to get to that place and then walk in and just not that what we collectively do is not professional, but it's not necessary. Like, if you were, I imagine if you were a professional dancer and you saw what we did, you'd be like, these are children. I am not going to take this seriously.
Yeah, I think it was just me being just pretentious. It's I was just being judgy.
Sure. Yeah. That makes sense because I've
you know,
like Mari, I think about the times that I'm playing an online game. I'm playing Valorant, and there's people in the chat trying to like fuck with me on the voice chat. And it's obvious that they're trying to do a bit, that they're either streaming to their channel or they're trying to get content for TikTok. And I'm just like, I'm not going to play along. I'm sorry, dude. Like, you're annoying. I had a long day at work. I just want to play a video game. But right now you're doing a thing at the expense of me, and I'm just not having it. So I can imagine you walking into this being asked silly shit and being like, what is this bull? I don't want to be a part of this.
Maybe it'll work in the inverse for you, Andy, where you'll do that and you won't play with them, and then their audience will vote for you to come be a ballerina.
Ah, shit. Wow.
there you go.
Pay
Hey,
money.
ballerina.
I would pay money to have you run Andy through just the ballet bar. Just have him do whatever basic warm up you used to do.
Oh my God.
And
no,
see
thank you.
how far he could get into it before he collapsed.
No, so here's the thing.
Tear an
When
ACL.
we shot the Voltron Power Rangers thing, there was me and Mari were on Team Power Rangers along with Austin Creed, and Greg was on Team Voltron.
Loser team
The
over there.
Voltron stuff was pretty much all in the cockpit, so they were done shooting in like
They had to
an
run.
hour and a half, and they were done. We were there till literally like 5 a.m., like the entire day, the entire night, and it got to that point where we start getting kind of delirious and like it's just sheer shenanigans and fun. And I'll never forget, we're out in this parking lot for this thing. Yeah, it's parking lot you can see right here. And what Mari, what would they call that stuff? The motions? Do you remember?
I think they're just like katas.
Yeah,
They're
there's
like,
some specific thing. And then we also had Yoshi there, this guy right there, who actually is a Power Ranger, and he was teaching us how to do them. And immediately, guys, I was so embarrassed. I was like, I can't do this. I am incapable of doing this. Like, there's not a chance. And Mari was being so nice. Like, Tim, you got this. Like, you can figure it out. And Austin's trying to help me too. And I'm like, y'all just have fun. I'm not doing this. Like, there's no way I'm doing it. And then like 2 hours later, you guys were killing it. You did the whole freaking thing. And I'm just like, that ain't me, by the way. That is not me. That's
it's like
so sad. Did we alienate you? That's
no.
Tim knows what
you
he's
guys just
capable of.
showed. Yes, yeah.
Tim,
you
you
showed
did
what
that-
actual talent brings to this shit. I just was like, hey, I like Power Rangers, and someone was like, hey, do you want to be a Power Ranger? I'm like, yeah.
Tim, it's like in the NSYNC music video when Joey Fatone did like 2 of the dance moves.
Yes.
And then the ex-boyfriend of Britney Spears or whatever that guy's name was
K-Fed.
did like all. Yeah, no. But it was
Kevin Federline, right? Or no, not Kevin Federline. The guy that used to do all their choreography.
the guy
for
that
JT.
Britney cheated on Justin Timberlake with that guy.
what's
So
his
he
name?
was like their dance guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And
to
Joey Fatone did like 2 of the dance moves in that music video, but for the rest of it, he is superimposed his face on that other guy's body doing the dance moves.
Was it Wyatt something?
Dirty Pop, right?
Yeah, Dirty Pop.
Yeah.
Dirty Pop is a video.
Well, actually, Andy, if you watch a lot of the old NSYNC videos, you can see they just composited like trees and shit going in front of Joey Fatone when he had to do the real hard dance.
I mean, dude, I'll fucking take it, man. If I'm the Joey Fatone of the Power Rangers, like nothing has made me happier.
Oh, Mari,
at least you got that far.
You look the best because you probably have like a really good body double.
Oh my god, are you kidding me, Tim? Like
you
just blew my mind. First off, that you were like, oh, well, I wasn't in that suit, because I would love to have done that video and then had the guy that was in the suit for me be a solid 6'4", 6'5", just jacked out of his mind.
Yeah, that was crazy. But no, you and Austin impressed the hell out of me, because like the thing was, none of us were in the costumes for that bit. Like there was stunt people that did all that stuff, the fight stuff and whatever, and they were an amazing stunt team. But you guys were like, oh, we're gonna learn this just because it's cool and we have the time. And I'm like, I'm very embarrassed to even be here right now.
It's really, really because Xavier and I were just thirsting over Yoshi. We're like, this guy's a real Power Ranger.
Yeah, for real.
Siphon him for all of the time and energy that we can get out of this guy. Turns out he's like the nicest person ever. So shout out to Yoshi. The thing that I remember from that shoot is that, I think we went till like maybe 3 or 4 a.m. And I don't want to spill tea though.
Do it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
We pushed a lot of the shoot in order for somebody to leave earlier because they had a 2 p.m. flight the next day. Mm-hmm. Come to find out, it's like hour 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Austin's still there, and he's still just being peachy, having a wonderful time on set, being
Austin Creed, being who he is, just legitimately the nicest human being who will do whatever you need him to do.
Be Austin Creed, not a single peep out of him, still having really wonderful energy. He's like, I probably need to get going in about a couple of hours because I've got a wrestling match in Mexico and I got to fly out in a couple of hours. And we're like, bro, you should have said something. This other person didn't need to be on a plane until 2 p.m. the next day.
That's amazing.
That's when I'm like, that's the bar. I'm like, that is, if I never, that is the bar for me of what I want to bring to a set always, and just the type of energy. And it was a really, really wonderful learning moment from somebody who's crushing it.
And that's why Austin Creed is up here and Anthony Carboni is down here.
Because
Carboni will have a flight at 2 p.m.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it, but
you don't have to name names around here. We know who the diva on set is when Anthony Carboni's around. All right.
God, did he have a hair person? He always has like 3 hair people with him.
Do I want these clear glasses or do I want those clear glasses? It's like they're all clear, Carboni. It doesn't matter.
I can't see them. They're clear. You can see the shadow on my face. Though.
Now, Nick, your hand was up. Was it also to dunk on Anthony Carboni?
I was going to dunk on you, but you went Anthony Carboni, and I just turned the wheel left.
I can pull that eject button. I don't want. I'm going to give you a second. You caught me dead in my tracks on the fast slow joke with Andy. I can't let it happen again. I can't do it. So, Mari, like I knew you from Smosh, and being introduced through that way and working with you and collaborating with you while you were there, and then obviously the stuff you've done since then. So when I remember on your Instagram when you popped up, you're like, oh yeah, I used to be a professional ballet dancer, and I'm gonna get back into it, and you started doing more and more stuff. Talk to me about what that was like. So Smosh approaches you and is like, okay, cool, you've been cast. The audience voted on you because you hate everything. Was there a moment where you were like, well, I want to be a ballerina? Or was it the idea that like you wanted to be an actor and like this was the easiest? Like, what's that? Is that a big thing to leave behind? Because like we're talking about, it must have been years and years of training.
Yeah, I didn't leave dancing behind. Let's see, that was 2012 until 2015. So for 5 years, I stayed dancing and doing Smosh at the same time. So at one point, I would fly down, I think after maybe from 2013 to 2015, for 2 years, I flew into LA every week for 2 to 3 days, shot Smosh Games videos, went back out, and then I was able to negotiate a contract with my ballet company to only be there for 3 days out of the week. And so I did it that way for 2 years, and then I got tired enough that I finally moved to LA. For those 5 years, I was like, I mean, we're talking 2010, so we're not. This wasn't a viable career. There's very few people who are making it as a career. Ian and Anthony being one of those channels. But
we're the first people to ever get paid on YouTube. Just for context, like Smosh was one of the first round of channels to even be able to be monetized. Period on YouTube. Yeah,
that's crazy. That's cool.
Yeah, but it still wasn't enough to convince, family, even myself, because I think you mentioned this a little bit, Nick. It's like, I started ballet when I was 2.5. At this point, I'm in my mid-20s, and I'm like, I can't stop this.
Yeah.
For what seemed like not even a pipe dream, because becoming an influencer or somebody on the internet really wasn't a thing back then either. It's just you either went viral or you didn't, and then you just threw up videos from time to time, and that was just the thing that you did. But Smosh Games being a standalone channel was the first moment where it was like, oh, this could be a viable thing, because now it's 6 people attached to it. And with the merger happening at that moment with Break and Alloy, I was employed under Alloy. It came together with Break and it became Defy Media. That was the first moment where it was like, oh, maybe this could be an actual job. I had a salary at that point instead of $50 per week. So,
not too shabby.
Not too shabby. Yeah. And then,
so what?
Yeah.
What did your family think of it? Because again, you've been on this track. You are a professional dancer, right? Like that's what you've been doing. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to leave it and I'm going to go to LA and I'm just going to talk about all this garbage and make YouTube videos.
It was hard for my mom, not because I was venturing off into something that was unknown. It's even if I was leaving to become a lawyer, she would have the same sort of thinking. It's like,
sure.
If I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna become the best surgeon in the world, she'd be like, but ballet though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's got to be so much of your parents tied up in it, right? I would imagine, of taking you to dance classes, coming to recitals, that kind of thing, right? Like being active in your development.
My mom was my teacher.
Oof.
So she's like a next generation ballerina. So
that is a huge piece of the puzzle, and I think we just solved on that one.
Oh, juicy layer. It's a marinade.
Well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's tough for any parent to watch a child who's invested so much in one thing kind of segue to a brand new thing. I mean, I remember talking to my mother, and I left IGN when we were what? God, I was 36, 37 when that happened. And my mom was like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Like, you put a lot into this online media career, and now you're going to go work out of your buddy's spare bedroom and drink all of his K-cups or whatever those things are called." I'm like, Ma, I think it's going to work out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, it's a generation of you do one thing and you get really good at it, and then you do that until you're 65, and then you retire, and then you start to live your life, right? Like that's always kind of been the MO for as long as I can really think of how humans have been, like post-industrialized population. And so I think thinking anything else, I think our parents are just trying to be as
responsible, right? Like, I feel like that's what, especially for what we're talking about with what our careers are. I think any parent is like, okay, you sure you want to turn your back on whatever you've been doing? But I think I'm assuming for your ballerina mom, I always go back to, my construction worker dad of like, who would, for years when I was at IGN, not years, months when I was first at IGN until he came out to visit, would be like, how's the magazine? I'm like, well, it's actually a website, but it's going pretty well. You know what I mean? And like, cause I had a magazine degree in journalism. And then, when I went home and I told him that I was like, we're leaving IGN, we're going to start our own thing. I've only ever told my dad 2 things where he was like stunned silence. The first is when I told him I had cancer. And the second is when I said we were leaving IGN to start our own thing. Cause you could see his wheels start spinning of like, what, like he doesn't understand what a website is, let alone now. No, it's podcast and YouTube. Like you talk about like ethereal ideas that don't mean anything to a construction worker. Like I was like, he's like, eventually it was, I trust you and I understand if it's the right thing. If you're doing it, it's the right thing. But I don't know anything about it. Are you sure? And I'm like,
so you're making the video games,
talking
right?
to you. Like, okay, Gregory.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Whatever you say, Gregory. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's just how it is for parents.
Yeah, I mean, especially that generation, right? We talked about that on the last podcast as well, where we were talking about just even the difference between my generation and my parents' generation, where, I mean, Mari, you hit it, right? My dad worked the same job for 30 years. And so, but I think it's always fascinating when you kind of go and say, hey, we're going to do this new thing. Because part of them, of course, the reason they did that was to give us those opportunities to be able to to be a little bit more mobile and move and do new creative things. And I don't think my dad ever felt that was necessarily an option for him, because when he was my age, by the time he was my age, when we formed KindaFunny, he already had two very annoying children that he had to be responsible for, me being one of them. And so I don't know. It's just, it's cool. I think that's part of the fun of having the kids and being able to give them, that little extra boost for a lifestyle that maybe you couldn't do for yourself.
Yeah. I think for a lot of it, Greg, you said it's like they're trying to be responsible. And then if they're not steering you in the right direction, then it's like they're doing a disservice for their kids. But nowadays, they're like, go do whatever you want. You seem to know what's good for you. So now I have no structure from them and I miss it. I'm like, I want you to tell me, maybe don't go do that thing.
They try to talk you out of being a co-owner of Space Station Gaming. Like, that's a terrible idea. Go away.
I don't think they still understand what eSports is, but I found that there is one of the articles got translated into Japanese, and I found it today. And I started tearing up because I'm like, now my parents are going to understand what I do.
That's great.
That's
so
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, I was stoked on that.
So do you, obviously I doubt you would look at your life right now and look back and go, man, I regret leaving ballet, but do you miss it? Do you miss the performance aspect of it?
Yeah. In a lot of ways, I miss making art, and something that is truly just artistic. But I think it's also a very selfish art because it's just a performative art, and it's just like I create the thing for you to look at, and that's just all it is. But yeah, the physicality of it and working with people on set in that way is something that I miss. I don't miss the toxicity of looking at my body for 8 hours a day and judging it for 8 hours a day. There's a very real, it ain't good for you sort of thing.
It's also highly competitive, right? Did you feel a sense of that sort of competitive environment every time you stepped into the theater?
It depended on which company I was with, and towards the end, the company was really awesome, very supportive folks. But towards the beginning, it was if you've ever seen Black Swan, but it's kind of like a hyper version of all the terrible things that could happen in a dance in the dance world. And it is that
I thought you were saying that what your real life was a hyper version of Black Swan. I was like, wow,
damn.
That's crazy.
preschool business. No, that was just kind of, it's like if you take street racing and you make it into Tokyo Drift, right? It's like it's taking all the biggest stuff. Do you like that 2012 reference?
Tim loved it.
So much.
It's always the best reference. Just always reference Fast and Furious. That's how we understand it.
Specifically Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, in fact, for the rest of the podcast, if you can make all your references Fast and Furious references, that would be really great for us.
Don't encourage them, Mari. Don't encourage them.
Well, it's all about family, so
it is.
God
damn it.
But yeah, I mean, there are aspects of you realize because you're so young. But the first time I was in a company, I was 17. You're so young that any sort of conversations that happen about how disposable you are, because there's 6 other people who have the exact same body type as you, and your face doesn't matter. It's not this, it's your ability and your body type and your shape. And so it's like you very quickly realize that somebody is going to take your spot if you are injured or if you are just replaced for whatever reason. And so that does get into your head and it makes you mean. It makes you terrible. And so I did go through a lot of that. But it also, I don't know. I was also very, very much surrounded by like all women growing up. I only did like half school by the time I was in high school. And so I would dance from noon. Yeah, I think I think I stopped at lunchtime, and then the rest of the day I would dance. So I was always around women, and like the toxicity didn't like come from being around women. It came from like the figurehead telling us whether or not we had secured jobs or not. And so that's kind of where it came from. So it was good lessons all around, but there are some aspects I miss and others that I don't.
Have you dealt with any long-term like health issues with your legs or your ankles or your feet? Because I don't know, at the age that you stopped, how long do you think you would have kept going had you not ever discovered Smosh?
If I didn't have any like really major surgeries, which are hip, knee, back, if I didn't have those, I could have danced well into my 40s and 50s if a company would keep me along for that long.
Interesting.
So if you stay healthy, you can do it, and it's really like if you become a name, then even if you are kind of deteriorating like dance wise, people will still come to see you dance.
Wrestling.
Yeah. It's like you can do 3 things and kind of walk around the ring, and people will still just come to the show.
Lose their fucking mind just because Kurt Angle's there. You know, it's just like it's the legacy more than anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting on that.
Kurt Angle does more than 3 things in the ring. All right, that's more of a Hogan thing, and you know it.
Yeah, when I retired, I hadn't had any major things. I had like sciatica and like capsulitis and tendinitis and stuff like that, but nothing that would keep me completely off of from dancing.
Okay.
So I don't know how long I would have gone for.
I just think about like NFL players when they're done and retired, they wake up and their back hurts or they're constantly in pain because of their thighs, or that one, surgery they had on their knee kind of haunts them for the rest of their life. So I just wasn't sure kind of what the physical toll that takes on your body after a long time of doing it.
I think if anything, it set me up to be able to sit around a lot and still be okay. Like I don't think my limberness will ever go away, which I've been really, really like stress testing during quarantine. I'm like, what if I just don't stretch for like 6 months? I try to do like stretchy things, and I'm like, it just goes back. I don't know.
Your body knows.
Wow.
I guess so. It's been broken down enough that it'll just do it. But yeah, I don't have anything that is super adverse. That sort of pain that keeps coming back. If anything, a lot of things went away, which is good.
Your body bounced back that way too.
Yeah, your body bounces back when you're not trying to hurt it every day.
Tim, you know what else bounces back?
What bounces back, Greg?
Patreon.com/kindafunny. Of course, it bounces back to you each and every week. You can go to patreon.com/kindafunny to write in to be part of the show. You can go there to watch us record the show live. You can go there to get the show at the post show. You, of course, can go there to get the show ad free. Speaking of ads, guess what, Jack? You're not watching on patreon.com/kindafunny. So here's a word from our sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by MeUndies. Are you afraid of the glow in the dark? Well, shield your eyes because the new MeUndies Halloween just dropped dead. Get it? Because there's new Halloween MeUndies out. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm Greg Miller, and I'm the king of Halloween, and I love my MeUndies. Of course, they're the only underwear I wear, and I'm always happy throughout the year when I get to my candy corn MeUndies. I've had those for a long time and I like them quite a bit, but now they got new Halloween prints. You don't have to do that. MeUndies are made from natural fibers sourced from beechwood trees, making their micromodal, fabric soft, breathable, and dangerously cozy. Get your spooky season up and haunting with 5 new prints: I See You, and that's EYE, My Boo, Tricks and Treats, Lazy Bones, and Lazy Pumpkin. Available in undies, bralettes, socks, and loungewear in sizes XS through 4XL. There are a lot of options to consider, but make a a decision quickly because there's somebody right behind you. To get 15% off your first order and free shipping and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. Our other sponsor of the day, why, it's Quip, ladies and gentlemen. When's the last time you got rewarded for brushing your teeth? With Quip's smart electric toothbrush, good habits can earn great perks like free products, gift cards, and more. The Quip Smart Brush for adults and kids connects to the Quip app with Bluetooth. Track when and how well you brush, get tips and coaching to improve your habits, earn points for daily brushing, and bonus points for completing challenges like streaks. Redeem for rewards like free products, gift cards, and discounts from Quip and its partners. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Greg Miller, and I use this toothbrush. It's very simple. I have the all black one. It syncs up with my phone. It tells me how much, and then I get to redeem it all the time for free gift cards. And you know, they make you brush a long time to do it, but you do get it in the end, which I appreciate. Start getting rewards for brushing your teeth today. Go to getquip.com/kindafunny, all one word, right now to save $10 on a Quip Smart Electric Toothbrush. That's $10 off a smart electric toothbrush at getquip.com/kindafunny, GETQUIP.com/kindafunny. Quip, the good habits company. Tim, did I cut you off for a real question there? Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to bring up. So our boy is Mahawk, some of the most talented video producers I've ever worked with or ever just known. Period. We worked together on the Power Rangers thing, but last year I want to say it might have been 2 years ago. Time flies. You guys kind of did a collab together, the Coyote Sunset, right?
Yeah.
Like super dope cyberpunk action like short film thing. Did your dancing background like kind of help with the choreography there and like just learning all the moves and stuff?
Yeah, I think dancing just kind of gives you a leg up, it's just like a crutch that you always have that you can use. And I remember like when I did fencing and stuff, they're like, have you done this before? Which isn't always a great thing. Like sometimes I just want to learn from zero, because I find that if you look like you can move, then they're just like, she doesn't want to learn. I'm like, no, I want to learn. Please teach me, please. It does come in handy for sure, but I also realize what I used to be able to do and what I can do now, and I'm like, man,
yeah,
I gotta keep it up. And I realize if someone's not paying me to go into ballet class every day, I just won't do it, which is it's an unfortunate thing. I wish I was more of a stereotypical, very disciplined ballet dancer.
I feel that pain, Mari, where it's like, I used to be able to eat that. Now I just can't really do 3 days of pizza in the row. And now I cut it to 2. I have to limit it to 2.
It sucks. Is it the cheese or is it the gluten?
I mean, it's all the calories. It's the calories, really.
Holding you back, those damn calories.
Yeah, I know. And
I also, Mario, I want to give you the credit as like the dopest jacket dresser I've ever seen in my life. Every time I see you, you're in a dope jacket, and this video is no different.
This jacket was found by Mel, who's on Ismahawk's team. The whole entire costume was picked by her. Yeah. I mean, they did such a fantastic job. And this is just really a passion project. I was saying to them, I think you're correct. It was 2 years ago when we shot this. It was 2019.
Wow.
And I said, hey, I want to act. I've never really given it a go. I've fallen ass backwards into doing sketch comedy with Smosh without any training. But I really want to give it a go. But until then, since I am impatient and I just want to throw money at something, will you make a short film with me? And they said yes. And so that was one of the films that we made. We have another one in the can, funny enough, with Yoshi in it.
Hey.
Oh, wow.
Brother. And so that should be coming out soon. Yeah. I think with acting, it's one of these things where I'm in acting school now. I'm in my 3rd semester at a school called Strasberg, and it's like the method acting school in Los Angeles. And I think it's always scared me to kind of put a name on it and say I'm really giving it a go, because I didn't want to be audacious and be like, I can I can do the thing. And so I feel like I'm earning my stripes now and really learning from scratch so that I feel like I can actually belong in a room someday.
So here's my question, Mari. Lots of people come on this show, and us four included, no other hosts, and we're self-deprecating, right? You make fun of yourself, you do the little thing, you move on with whatever story you're about to tell. Something I've noticed is your vocab, as you've told very specific parts of your life, right? Where you talk about being pretentious when you shut up at Smosh. You talk about ballet making you mean and making people who do ballet mean. And then, of course, when we're talking about Survivor, you're talking about, you become an island unto yourself, right? And you have to do that. How much self-reflection do you do? Is this something that you're doing as you've gotten older? Is this something that's been throughout your life? Because tell me if I'm way out of line here. It sounds like you're looking back at your life and saying like, oh, basically I was a little shit in this way or this, that, and the other. Like, was that something you caught on to in those moments later on? Or is it something you look back now and you've tried to make a change for?
That's such a good question, dude. I think when I was younger, I always knew that something was wrong and it was something I was doing, but I couldn't really put a finger on it and I couldn't figure out what it was. But as I've gotten older, it's really talking to my husband that has, I think, really opened it up for me, because from the get-go, he's always been really introspective. And we're now 11 years into our relationship, and he still is like calling bullshit on me consistently, and is like if you want to unpack that, sort of thing. I think it's gotten me to a place where I can recognize it without tearing myself down. I'm like, that's kind of what I do, and I can grow from it, but I can also see it and not be like, I'm an absolute piece of shit that can't, function. I'm like, yeah, that's something let's put a pin on that and we can fix it later.
Sure. I mean, that's something obviously great to have in your mental health toolbox, right? I mean, to be able to sit there and be introspective and think about that and have somebody obviously to call you on your bullshit. That's goes so far.
Yeah. Like I'm 5 years into my relationship with Nick right here. And it's all the time. It's always, you don't really mean that. And he's like, no, I didn't. I lied. Just lied about what I
said. Sometimes you got to create the reality you want to live in.
Well, Mari, when it comes to just like doing all this esports stuff, like, and you mentioned it earlier, how it's a friend of yours who started this esports team. And as this builds up, what really brings you into kind of, yes, I'm going to sign the dotted line. I really want to do this.
I think that for the past 11 years that I've been in digital, I've been able to be very, very selfish. And like a lot of the early years was just because I'm like, well, I don't know how long is it going to last. Maybe it'll last 5 months. And then 5 months happen. It's like, whoa, maybe it'll last another year. It's like, holy shit, we're going for 3 years now, 5 years. And it's always been this really fun ride. And then suddenly you get to a place in your career where you're just like, oh man, I better fucking do something for other people, because this is like, I feel like I've done a lot for myself. And it's like it's this weird thing where the audience members, and I'm sure you guys know too, whereas audience members are always really grateful for having content. And I think that's something that it's always resonated with me. But I feel like I still haven't done enough. And so I think that with esports being in its infancy still, I think there's so much more. It's like it's now becoming a household sort of name and conversation that you have. I think there's so much more that can happen, that if I can go into it with something like being a co-owner of a team, not only will it open doors for other people, it'll allow me to open those doors for other people and have conversations. And I don't know, maybe it'll be something that somebody aspires to do later on in life as well. And if I'm there, like if I could do it, then they'll believe that they could do it too.
Well, especially adding more diversity to such a prominent role in esports, I think is incredibly important for a lot of people nowadays, where they maybe this doesn't even seem like a possibility. But if she can do it, damn, maybe I can be there as well. And I think that's absolutely massive. So like, what do you hope to achieve in this role? Are you looking to get into certain games and create certain teams here? Like, I don't even know where to start with, like, what does the owner of an esports team do?
I think like SSG does a lot of things really, really great already. And I feel like I don't want to come in here and being like, hey, ready for the change up, you know, throw the whole sports playbook. I don't know sports, obviously. I watched 4 episodes of Ted Lasso and I think that I know sports.
You're like taking notes. You're like, oh, this is good owner stuff. These are good speeches.
Andy, earlier today on Games Daily, I said I was batting 100. And so that's the extent of my knowledge there.
Bad, yeah.
But no, he said it, and both Tam and Kevin were like, "Yeah, it makes sense."
Yeah,
and then the chat had to be like, "No."
You're gonna trust the British man who said baseball is boring to give you that fact there? Come on.
That's true.
Yeah, so I like they already do so many things right. It's the community is like the announcement today and the way that the community reacted is already a huge reflection of what they've cultivated over the years, and it's one of the main draws for me of just how much I love the fun attitude that they have with their community. And it's like they are obviously competitors who do well, they take it seriously, and at the same time there's a sort of air of like keeping it fun, keeping it inclusive of family, of like people outside of what you might think is esports, and kind of bringing it all in. And I think for me, I'd love to be able to bring more people into the gaming industry in general. I think that the more people there are here, the more diversity, like you said, will be available, and more voices and like people in general to be like, oh, you're here, cool. Well, this person feels comfortable now that you're here, great. And now this person's gonna come in too. I don't know. I love this industry. I feel like it served me so well over the years that I want to continue championing that for other people.
What I think is really cool is like you talk about the industry, and we do this a lot too, where it's like we say the industry, but like we're often talking about many different industries in one, whether it's games media industry or online video industry or video games as, you know, games themselves industry, like all that stuff. There's like a lot of overlap, but they are different things. You've been in the YouTube industry, like honestly, since the beginning of it all, and like you've kind of seen it all change and stuff. What lessons from that top level comes to mind do you think that you'd want to apply to esports that are still very much in that 2010 YouTube kind of era?
Yeah, I think content creation is something that SSG has already done really well, mainly because it comes from Sean himself, who is a creator. And I think that sort of spirit of keeping it, like, I don't know about you guys, but I still find it really difficult for me to like lo-fi my stuff. And I don't know if it's because I've gotten older and I have better tools, and I'm like, well, if I have the tools, I better use it. But sometimes it's just like the sort of like slap together grungy stuff that resonates more. And that's 2010, 2015 YouTube at its core and at its heart. And so I think it's a lot of applying like not overthinking content and giving your audience the experience of how it feels the most organically. And so that's something that resonates with me with the content that SSG makes. It's, I don't want to say it's slapped together. I don't think it's slapped together by any means, but it feels like there's still a human behind it. And I love that.
Yeah, it's got that vibe to it, right? Where, you know, it doesn't feel overly produced. It doesn't feel like, yeah, there's no human soul to it, that nobody actually touched this, that it's just churned out, right?
Yeah, and I think for us, like, I think that was like, we came from IGN. Most of us, Andy came from Rooster Teeth, but you know, coming from IGN, where we were trying to do stuff that was like, you know, trying to rival broadcast for some reason, which was our mentality there. I don't want to say that our stuff is like lo-fi now, but I think it's definitely a path of least resistance. What is the priority? Is the priority for us is like, let's have fun on camera. And so, okay, well then let's back into that. What's the path of least resistance that will allow us to do that the most sustainably and have fun and provide that for whoever, wants to actually tune in and to listen to us. And I think that is kind of the power of what we're doing now, right? That's just like, in my opinion, that's the main difference between producing something for yourself online versus trying to work for a network.
Yeah.
Let's get a question here, right? We're talking about the audience. We're talking about obviously how we make things for them, right? We have an audience member who wants our help. Kale Dolphincorn writes into patreon.com/KindaFunny and says, sorry to get sad, but as I'm writing this, my grandmother has died about an hour ago. I didn't know her well. I didn't know her well besides knowing she existed until about 6 years ago when my mother and I moved across the country and moved in with her. Through those 6 years, I never thought about how hard it would hit me. I don't know if it's just me coping or not, but how do y'all deal with loss? This is the first immediate family member I've lost, so I'm new to this, lol. Thanks a ton, and I'm sure you'll help me get through this like you've gone through. It got me through so much other stuff. Your content is appreciated. Love, Kale. Of course, Kale. All of our love to you. You're a kind of funny best friend here who's here quite often. Sorry to hear you about going this, but yeah, loss. Nick Scarpino, what are your tips for getting through loss?
Oh wow!
On the spot, I know.
Yeah.
We did a goofy episode yesterday, last podcast, and the first half and the second half was serious. I like that mix up, so I'm tossing the serious question here.
No, I mean, I think hopefully you have people around you can rely on and that's the time to do it. If you have friends, if you have family members that you're close with, I think you have to lean on each other, and that's the whole point of having people in your life. And loss is always difficult, and the pain will subside eventually, but it'll never be gone forever. And just remember that's for a reason. That's programmed there so you remember the people you love. And just hopefully take that and think, I'm gonna try to live every day as much as possible and be as good to everyone around me as possible. And life is a beautiful thing, and hopefully that'll be a reminder that you can cherish it.
For sure, right? Yeah, I think there's so many different cliches to go to, and I'm not going to go to the one you probably think I nowadays when I think about death, I often think of MCU, and I don't think of WandaVision. I think instead of Endgame with Tony Stark's message, right? But like the end is part of the journey, right? Like it's this whole thing of like this beautiful ride you've had, and I think even before having something from a comic book movie to put a lens on that, right? It still was the idea that. When you have a funeral, you're supposed to celebrate somebody's life and what they did and how they, the lives they touched and what their, general love brought to everybody else. And I think it's so easy to, death sucks on so many different levels, obviously, but for sure that your final moments, many times, not all, are tied up in seeing someone be sick or frail or not themselves or something like that, right? Where you want to remember the years you knew them beforehand. Obviously, Kayla, your years are shorter than some other people for some experiences. You had 6 years, but you would hope of the majority of those 6 years, your grandmother was, able-bodied. You were able to talk to them and have a relationship with them. And I think it's about remembering that. Mari, do you have advice?
I think you both said it so beautifully. It was really nice.
Greg's a writer. Does
it help that when Greg said it reminds me of a saying, I thought he was going to quote Joe Dirt for some reason? Life's a garden, dig it. I don't know why that's
also. I also think of Life's a garden, dig it quite a bit too.
I do.
It's a great one.
There's I came across I have to look it up. Let's see. Keanu Reeves said this quote.
Oh yeah.
He's amazing.
When people die, they will. When we die, people that love us will miss us. I believe. Is that the one that he did on Colbert Report?
Yeah.
On the Colbert Show, yeah.
It was so simple and so beautiful.
So good.
Yeah. For Colbert to kind of blindside him and be like, Keanu, what do you think happens to us when we die? And the audience kind of laughs initially because it's just a weird question to ask, and he kind of just sits there and he goes, I know that when we die, the people that love us will miss us a lot. And then Colbert is like, good fucking answer, man.
Damn,
everybody claps like,
good.
You're incredible. You're incredible.
Yeah. You're breathtaking.
Yeah.
The advice I would give is to allow yourself to feel your feelings, because I feel like a lot of times people want to immediately jump to moving on or to like only having the good times. Like, you can be sad. It's a sad thing. And I don't think that you should wallow in it, and I don't think that you should allow yourself to like kind of have that affect your life long term. But you can take the time you need, whether that time's a day, a week, a month, whatever it is. Like, make sure that you have people around you. That is the key thing, because you can't allow, like, there's such a breaking point and a line that you'll cross that you won't even necessarily realize you're near if you are allowing yourself to just be sad, and like that could get really bad. But if you're around people and they know what you're going through, you have a safety to kind of like be in that for a second, for a minute, whatever it is that you need to kind of deal with. And everyone's different. That's why I keep adding all these different things. But I know that for me, dealing with some stuff I've had going on in my life recently, like it is nice to just allow yourself to be sad, allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to like think that this sucks, because it does suck, but it sucking right now doesn't take away from all the amazing memories that you're going to have for the rest of your life. And I think that's the key thing, is what Greg was saying of like, you'll always have the moments you had. Those are the moments I'm going to think back on in years when I'm thinking about whatever situation. But like now it's like, well, I'm living this hell of losing people. Right. So it's like, it's okay that this aspect of my life is really sad.
Yeah. I mean, this through COVID, I lost 2 family members that were, pretty close to me. And it was really sad that I wasn't able to go down. And right now I'm kind of in that prepping phase on like for, to say it in like the least harsh terms possible. Cause a couple of my family members are pretty sick. So that's something I'm kind of mentally preparing myself for. But I think one thing that's really important is not to, like Tim said, wallow in it too much, because you will, for some reason, I feel bad distracting myself to make myself feel better. I feel like that's in a way like dishonoring my family member who just lost. And it's okay to like seek out fun. It's okay to seek out friends and laugh and play video games, and don't feel bad about that. Like, use that as a way to kind of help you through that pain, because there's always been a part of me that's like, well, I can't try to do something fun right now because I feel bad. And that's just not the way to look at it. Like, I'm very much like, distract yourself, try to, hang out with friends, and don't let yourself stay in bed all day, because that is something that becomes so tempting to do, and just kind of curl up in the blankets and just feels like shit, And it's really easy to do that, but try not to do that. Try to talk to family and friends, get on a Discord call with friends if you can't see them, watch a movie together, play games, whatever. Find a way to distract yourself, and don't feel bad about trying to make your situation better.
Here. A good one, Andy.
Solid advice. All
and
around.
It's rare from Andy that he has solid advice.
It's rare this guy says anything good.
Mari, this guy's got a hole in his ceiling that you can see to the ceiling. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You can see sunlight coming in. It's weird.
Choking on a Kashi.
Esophagus.
Look at him. He's going right back to it. He's got no fear.
Eat it. You're addicted.
Dude, see, for me, it's like when I like to eat my mini wheats. My frosted shreddy mini wheats.
The driest thing on the planet.
And I don't put. Of course, I'm like Andy. I just eat them dry like a horse. And so when I put them in there, you get the wrong breath, and you take that hit of the strawberry frosting off the top of them. Oh man, you flying. You know what I mean? You're not breathing right for a while.
As you know, I'm always playing with fire. I'm always playing dangerous games over here, because it's not only the Kashi, it's also carrots. And when you're crunching up a carrot, Mari, you get those little pieces, those particles of carrot that fly back to the back of your throat. For whatever reason, that's the only like vegetable that really has that effect on me. And it's something like, you got to risk it for the thing you love.
It's true.
Special boy.
For you.
And that was the last time Mari ever came on our podcast.
2. That's 2.
2 times you. True.
He never learns.
Mari, your time with us is up. But before you go, we're going to do another one. Everyone clear your mind. This is not nearly as hard or as serious as the last question, all right? Everybody clear your mind. Mari, you're going first. Okay. Grant Burton writes into patreon.com/KindaFunny and says, what do you want for Christmas?
Oh, gosh.
Clear your mind!
I'm not, I want a toaster. I want a toaster.
Wow.
We don't have a toaster.
Do you find you miss it? We don't have a toaster either, but I'll broil the bread, or I have one of those like flat cast iron, like not it. Obviously, it's a skillet, but it's long, kind of like like at a diner or whatever. I'll just toss the bread on that.
Yeah, we just do it like on a pan with like some butter or something like that. It just takes a while, sometimes you just want to press a button and then it pops back up and it's nice.
Sure, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Is there a toaster shortage happening right now, or?
No, it's a matter of us watching Marie Kondo on Netflix one time, and we're like, we don't need all this stuff, and then we're like, we needed the stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you better wait to get that toaster because season 2 is on the way.
Fuck you! Don't tell me that.
It is. And if you get the toaster, you're gonna be like, "Fucking get rid of this toaster!" Like we just watched season 2.
Yeah, I have 4 sweatshirts, and I really need my 4 sweatshirts.
Open your drawers, like 2 t-shirts. What the fuck?
I didn't go to E3 2 years in a row. That means I don't have fresh t-shirts anymore. So
I kind of love this, like how there was Hoarders to start off, and then Marie Kondo came along, and it's like the complete opposite. I want to see like the next shift back. Like I want like Kevin Coelho to have his own show where it's just like, how much shit can you fit in one house? Like let's figure it out.
Kevin's just got 5 cars in the background.
Everybody should have loft beds, and then he's just putting everything under that.
God,
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna.
Nick Scarpino, what do you want for Christmas?
I want a slice of my mom's cheesecake. That's what I want.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I want to see my family at some point. I haven't seen them a lot during COVID, only FaceTime. And my mom makes arguably a tie for the depending on if we're talking about Jamie Kennedy's cheesecake, which is good as well, for the best cheesecake ever made, homemade cheesecake. So I'm looking forward to that.
Andy Cortez, what do you want for Christmas?
I want there to not be a Delta variant or an Echo or a Foxtrot or a Golf variant.
You almost you're doing the Genie don't fuck me
or
thing, or if you wish away Delta, but then there's something worse.
Yeah,
you got Zebra coming for you.
The Genie goes, "Oh, you don't want Delta, yeah, but here comes Lima."
It was a kilo variant. That sounds pretty cool.
Kilo, yeah. I want to be able to go home and not worry about just I don't want things to worsen. I know I'm vaxxed already and I should be fine. I'll be double masked again whenever I do go home, but I still do worry about something else popping up like in the next couple of months and it being like, oh no, we're cutting down everything again. That would be really shitty.
Timmy Geddes, what do you want?
So it's kind of a cheat answer because it's not necessarily Christmas, but I'm just too busy with Christmas, with the new studio, with everything else happening. Like I'm just counting this year. The rest of this year is just a wash of just work that has to get done. But what I am saying, I'm putting this out in the world. I want a vacation in February. I'm also looking at it as like, okay, December is going to be a wash. All the things leading up to that. January's are going to be crazy too. New adjustments to the studio and all that stuff. Once February comes, I don't know what I'm going to do in COVID depending. The vacation might literally just be driving to the freaking North Bay or some shit. But I have
if you want, you and Gia can sleep here if you want.
I'll tell you, it'll be nice. Just to switch up. But no, I need 2 requirements. If you can get me these, Andy, I'm in.
Okay.
I want a hot tub. I want to drink in a hot tub with Gia. That's requirement number 1. I've been in one for too long, and it can't be Kevin's. I don't want Kevin's.
I was going to say, thank God Kevin's not running the show.
I know. Yes. We all understand why I don't want to do that. And the second thing I want is I want a pool that I can put Moose, Mari, my Pomeranian Moose. I want him in this water. He has not been able to be in water enough. I've only seen him swim once, and it was the most surprising thing ever, where this motherfucker was getting it, dude, Olympic style. I was so impressed with him. He's so useless otherwise, but he was a great swimmer, and I need to see that again in my life. So that's what I want. What'd you say?
I said that's called panic.
No, it's called fucking
the survival instincts kick in.
That's the flight of the.
Well, I want to make him panic just for a second, so I can feel something, Yeah. But I love it.
And then for me, what I want for Christmas would be Ghostbusters Afterlife to be great in November. That's what I'll set it there. I'll set it on something goofy, right? I hope it's great, and then my kid enjoys watching it by December. Of course, the kid won't watch anything by then. It doesn't matter. One day the kid will like Ghostbusters. That's it. The long-term Ghostbuster wish for Christmas.
That's your Christmas wish for like 2025.
No, right? I'm saying, yeah, just Ghostbuster Afterlife needs to be good. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's been another episode of the KindaFunny podcast. Remember, of course, you should go to patreon.com/KindaFunny, where you can get each and every episode early. You can watch us record it live. You can write in and be a part of it. You, of course, can get it ad free. You can get the post show we're about to do over on patreon.com/kindafunny. Of course, if you have no bucks to toss our way, no big deal. You can get each and every episode on youtube.com/kindafunny, roosterteeth.com, podcast services around the globe. Of course, if you wanted to go the extra mile, you could use our Epic Games code, Kinda Funny, on Fortnite, on Rocket League, on the Epic Game Store itself, wherever you're getting Epic Games, you can use that, get us a few bucks that way. Of course, the Kinda Funny podcast is 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather around this table, each coming to bullshit with each other whenever they want to bullshit about stuff. If you like bullshitting with us, you already know where to go and get all the episodes. We got a post show to do, but if you're not coming with us, until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.